Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Alex Avila with Love University. And we're back. I'm an author, psychologist, and speaker. Every week, we talk about how to love ourselves, others, and higher nature, how to improve our finances, career, health, relationships, and spirituality. And we have a very interesting guest today. This is Dr. Donna Spruijt-Metz. And Donna, I briefly met you at the LA Times Book Festival for a little bit, and then we wanted you to come on the show. And she is, I guess, what you can call a polymath. She has a lot of different expertise. And also she has 4 master's degrees, a doctorate as well. She's a former professor of psychology and public health at USC, a McDowell Fellowship Fellow in poetry, and was a professional flutist as well. And her poetry appears in various publications, Los Angeles Review, Poetry Northwest, Coppernickel, and she just got an award from Harvard Review Prize as well. And her recent work is General Release from the Beginning of the World. Welcome, Donna, to the show.
Thank you.
Now, Donna, you have a very fascinating history here, it looks like, career-wise. It looks like you've evolved careers. I think you mentioned even spontaneously, you went from, I think, music, psychology, poetry, religion. Tell us a little bit about how that evolved.
I always wrote poetry, always. And when I was 18 or 19, I started playing the flute. And I loved it. Now, I come from a musical background. My mom was a jazz pianist, and I played other instruments as a kid. But I realized that if I wanted to play flute, I was going to have to study it. And I was really late. There was nobody who's going to take somebody who's been playing for 6 months at 18 or 19 years old at a conservatory. So Cal Arts was pretty experimental back in the day. And you could apply in any program and then switch programs internally.
Yes.
So I applied as a poet and got in and walked across the quad and became a flutist and didn't really write for a while. Poetry's hard. Poetry's the hardest of any of the things I've ever done. And so I studied at Cal Arts, got my bachelor's and master's there, moved to Holland, got another master's there.
Wow.
I wanted to study with a particular teacher, Franz Fester, and
yes,
the only way to do it was to be at the conservatory. And then was a professional flutist, and meanwhile was practicing. Playing is wonderful. Practicing can be boring. Mm-hmm. And I'd always wanted to study psychology, just for fun. And I had a gig in Rotterdam. I was living in Amsterdam at the time. My car broke down. I was in a cab. And we drove past this building in Amsterdam that they call the Doodskist. And I asked, which means coffin. And I asked the taxi driver what that building was. He said, "Oh, that's the University of Amsterdam Psych Department." It was dusk and they had lights on. He said, "They just started a new part-time evening program." I thought, "Oh, cool. That'll be fun. Let me out." So I got out, went upstairs. Long story short, I ended up going to school for fun.
Wow.
It was a brand new program and really poorly organized. And I was performing and teaching flutist, and I needed it to be better organized. So I got involved, ended up running it. I slowly but surely sort of ended up going into psychology, and then got a PhD there.
Donna, let me ask you something. You know, you've heard the Jungian topology, and Myers-Briggs structure, spontaneous personality. Yeah. Are you a spontaneous kind of person, or are you more structured?
I'm not very structured. Okay. I mean, I like structure. Yes. I love structure. I can be very uptight about structure.
Yes.
But in the broad strokes of my life, it's all been serendipity.
Spontaneous. I wonder, like, people listen to us, maybe even college students or other people that want to, figure out their in Spanish we call it don, or don divino, the gift from the God. You say your talent. And some people are afraid of their talent. Some people embrace it. Others do it later in life. Maybe like they want to be writers, but they're accountants first, and then they become writers later. And it seems like you are very talented. I know the terms like polymath, a Renaissance person. You do a lot of things. Do you think it's something, is it genetic, environmental? Where do you get all these talents?
I'm just restless.
Restless? Oh, okay.
I just get restless. I don't know. I think, But thank you. That's a real compliment.
Sure. Okay. So you just kind of like, would you have a brilliant mom or dad or grandparents or something that were very genetically smart, as far as you know?
My dad was very smart.
Okay.
Also very troubled, but yeah.
So geniuses can be a little bit of both, right? How about for college students? I know you worked at USC for a while. What's your advice to those trying to find their path and career-wise in life to achieve happiness?
I think we're sort of past the phase where you have one career. Many people have more than one. So I think it's really important not to feel like you've got to make the final decision, that it's every decision about your career or your future is going to make it or break it, because it turns out not to be true. Certainly when I was working with students at USC, I had a lot of PhD students, and it was like, oh my God, this decision is so important. It's like, meh.
Well, Donna has something called, Donna, you've heard of the gig economy, where you have like part-time gigs to make money. And back in the day, I don't remember people talking about it like that. So maybe it's giving you permission to experiment in different little fields.
No, I think the gig economy is a terrible, terrible mistreatment of us by the people with real money.
So tell me about that.
It's a capitalist.
Right? Oh, capitalist.
Or horrible, horrible mess. And people that are stuck doing gigs without insurance.
So basically part-time work.
Security. So that's not a gig. Your part-time work, if you have an actual part-time job that actually gives you security and pension and health insurance, then yay.
Okay. So that's different. But part-time work, you're okay with, right? People trying different part-time jobs and things to gain experience in life, to figure out what they want.
Yeah. I mean, everybody has their own path. I'm not a part-time person, which is how I ended out when I really got serious about poetry again.
Yes.
In the end, leaving the university.
Okay. So you became a full-time.
Both of those things, and it was just, I didn't have any time to breathe.
I see. Now, tell me, you're doing research. I noticed something about mobile health. Is that one of your research areas that you're into?
Yeah, I had a center on mobile health.
Say that again.
I had a little center on.
Oh, okay, interesting. So that's kind of like on your phone, like you get information from doctors, or how does that work usually?
It's using new technologies to help people improve their health. So it's mostly interventions.
Okay, because I know in psychology we've had telehealth, especially during the pandemic. A lot of people are now getting therapy online.
Right, that's telehealth. That's a different terminology. That's different. Yeah.
You do it through the phone. Is that called mobile health versus like?
Not necessarily. I mean, it could be part of it, but how mobile health was originally conceived of back in the day that we conceived of it, it was using new technologies to help people achieve healthier lives. And you could say throughout the pandemic that the ability to do telemedicine does have that. You could plead for it. It is, if we're going to call mobile health a huge umbrella of things, then telehealth might be part of it. And it certainly has been important to reach people that are otherwise hard to reach or don't have the time. So I think it's a wonderful development.
Right. And in psychology, we see it has pretty good effectiveness. And sometimes people are embarrassed to come to an office or talk about their problems. But, through telehealth, they're comfortable about it. And of course, if they don't have a car or, can't afford a babysitter and stuff like that.
Exactly.
It can be very useful to do that.
Right.
And the other thing I noticed that you're interested in, I think, is childhood obesity, which I think, is that another area of you?
That was my area of research for 25 years. Yeah.
25 years. So, let's say up to 20% of children or teenagers are obese. In our society, is perhaps that. What do you think is the issue? Now, we know about the 24-hour food things, and people associate food with, enjoyment, or even when they're sad, people eat as a result. What do you think is a cause of obesity in America?
I think it's predominantly environmental. And I think that environment has been created by McDonald's and big business.
Yes.
So it's definitely, there's a genetic propensity when confronted with the food deserts that we live in, especially if you're poor.
Right.
Some people are genetically more prone to get fat. but it's not the entire population.
Right.
And I mean, obesity in adults is way up.
Right. So fast food is cheap, I guess. So people that can't afford regular food, do they eat the fast food?
Yeah, but yes, absolutely. Vegetables are expensive. And
One issue, yeah.
and also fast foods are tasty. People like fat and sugar.
Sure. It reinforces itself, yeah.
It reinforces itself, and it also physiologically does. I mean, interesting research has shown that.
Right. And also maybe emotionally, maybe people in the pandemic felt depressed or isolated, so maybe they ate more. I noticed I gained some weight. Others have as well. Did you gain weight during the pandemic, or you kept it cool? Yeah. Yes. What was your secret? Are you like a high metabolism person, or you just monitor your eating well?
I monitor my eating. I mean, I did too much research in that area.
Oh, okay. So you know
yeah.
Do that. Okay. Now, another interesting thing, I was reading your materials about age. I think you had an interview about that. And, we have like the old young person, someone who's not that old, but psychologically they feel depleted, maybe dejected and depressed. And then there's the young old who chronologically are older, but, they have a youthful spirit and vivacity. And you even say that you actually see yourself in different ages when they ask you that question. You say, I see myself as a fatherless child in first grade, writing my first poem, a girl in a commune, a woman child, playing guitar in a rock band, a woman husband fell in love with, a professor of psychology, and now poetry, which you avoided all your life. So tell us about that. How's that? How do you see age in that sense?
I think poetry is like, you're right because like Leonard Cohen said, you're right because you have to.
Mm.
And
writers, they say that too. It's inside you. You got to get it out.
It's not so much that it is something that's always been a part of me, and I avoided it and certainly avoid sharing what I wrote for a long time because I couldn't get to it. I couldn't get to the meat of it. And I guess living in the world for long enough, you slowly open those doors. I mean, at some point, I turned around and faced poetry at some point.
Yeah. I want to get more into the facing the poetry. I think that's a very interesting concept. But when you talk about age, I mean, I really like the idea that you said you see yourself in different ages psychologically. Tell us about that part. Do you see yourself as a little girl or as an older woman? How do you see yourself overall?
That depends on when you catch me.
Do you have a playful girlish moment and then young adult moment and the older moment?
I think so.
I think that's a nice way to look at it. It's kind of a multifaceted thing. And I think one of the questions was, what is age given and taken away from you? How would you answer that question?
I think age has given me some calm and a little bit of bravery.
Oh, bravery.
And a better overview. Like knowing that if I make a bad decision today in my career, it's not for the rest of my life.
Yes.
Didn't feel like that when I was younger.
Mm-hmm. So when you left USC, is it difficult? Was it sad? Was it happy?
No, I was done.
Oh, you're done?
I was, it was great. It was a great ride and I was very happy to be done with it.
Okay. So it's a sense of completion, like you've done this and all that.
Yeah.
Moving on. Now, in that same interview, they asked you, what do you want with more age? And I think you said something like, I love of dogs. I think you mentioned dogs, travel, and stories. Is that
I want to write more poetry. That's
poetry for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a dog, by the way, or do you like dogs? Two dogs?
Yes.
Are they around town? We can see them or no?
One of them is laying right here.
Okay.
You want me to aim my screen?
Why not? Yeah, if you want to pick them up or whatever.
And I can't pick her up. She's too big.
Oh, wow. It's a fluffy one. Yeah, it's kind of, what do you call that kind of dog? It's got a lot of...
It is Australian Shepherd. And then I have another one. If I call him, he'll come.
Oh, okay.
He might not go. Sky. Okay. Sky, come here, baby. Come here, baby.
She's playing hard to get. She doesn't want to come. Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. Now that's love, huh? That's great. I have a little miniature golden retriever who's like a psychology kind of dog. But,
all right, it's enough.
Okay. They give you unconditional love, which is kind of rare, right, in the society.
Enough, puppy.
Okay. She'll take over the show and it'll be about the dog, right? Instead of the poet. That's kind of nice. Now, poetry seems like it's very important to you. And, there's something called poetry therapy. They say even in Egyptian times, they use poetry as a healing thing. Of course, the Old Testament, Psalms and a lot of those, Song of Solomon are poetry.
Mhm.
And even Walt Whitman, they say in the Civil War, he actually read poetry to soldiers to help them recover. And today, people even use poetry to get into unconscious feelings. What's your idea about that? Do you think poetry has a therapeutic benefit in today's society?
As somebody who studied psychology and therapy, I studied it. I just didn't do it. I kind of hate to brand it like that, but do I think that it can help people? Yeah. I mean, I think it can help those who write it and those who read it. I don't know. Is it the Paris Review that had a column, maybe still has a column called Poetry RX? It's prescription. Somebody would write in and say, I'm feeling this way or that way, what poem, and this is what happened to me. And then whoever was writing the column at the time, Kaveh Akbar did it for a while, would say, oh, you should read this poem.
So what is it about poetry? I mean, you're reading it rhymes, and does it tap into a certain feeling that can elevate you or give you insight that's special for people, to help them psychologically?
Yeah. My poetry doesn't rhyme. Maybe slant rhymes, though.
Okay. Well, there's something about the word choice. Have you heard of Khalil Gibran, by the way?
Of course.
He's got some pretty cool stuff, It's very inspiring. And so in terms of, now your recent book is very interesting name, General Release from the Beginning of the World. Now, you do mention that they're beautiful. Oh, wow, grapes too. Oh, okay, that's interesting. And then you said you were raised in the Jewish tradition, Reformed Jewish, and you're spiritual quite a bit. Now, they talk about this book, and they say it's that you riff on the Psalms and seeking answers from a genderless, nameless deity referred to only as you. It can set you free, but also break your heart. Are you talking about God or something else in this?
That's not me. That's Carl Phillips who said that.
Oh, okay.
Did I say that?
I see it in your book review. I don't know. Someone said it, I think, about you, I believe, or your book.
Somebody else said it.
Yeah, someone about your book.
Carl Phillips. Carl Phillips on the back of the book.
Oh, okay, so he's reviewing. He's talking about the book.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Actually, the deity. Did you talk about God in the book or the poetry or something else?
I would say it's God, but it's however you experience that. It's good, or God, or goddess, or whatever's holy, or.
Okay, but the other thing is, it's interesting. You talk about reconcile the death of the father, the lies of the mother, and a hidden half sister. Is this all about you, or is this a fictional creation thing?
You never ask a poet a question like that.
Is it really? Oh, okay. So we don't know exactly.
It's it's always poetry is always to some extent autobiographical, but the speaker is the speaker.
Okay. So we don't know for sure, but something deep inside you wanted to write this kind of thing. And,
actually, I wanted to write something else entirely, but you don't always have a choice.
So it comes from you. Can you tell us? Is there a message, or is there a theme in it, or this kind of thing?
Not one. I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I don't think there's just one message or theme. A lot about family, a lot about, whatever God and whatever is holy, and a lot about the environment. Okay. And what a mess we're making of our world.
But it seems like from what they wrote about it, this is an interesting concept. It says she breaks her own heart to touch yours.
Yeah.
So that's a beautiful phrase. I'm not sure, what does that mean to you when they say that? Did you break your heart to do this thing?
Writing this? Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
In terms of like memories from your past, or just in general, something about it kind of hit you?
Memories on one hand, and trying to find the truth, and just the struggle to write true words. Yeah.
Is it possible? Can you read a little bit of that to us?
From the book?
Yeah, sure. Something that would be kind of like a nice one.
Kitchen sink after Psalm 96. In the kitchen, singing at the top of my lungs while the water's running, music turned up, dogs barking, I'm slicing vegetables, squeezing lemons, I'm here in the middle of your noisy bounty. You bless me with this onslaught, and now I'm trying to figure out how to return the favor, how to bend to the sacred business of witnessing the day. In every nation, drought and hunger, flood and fire, loss, nations devouring other nations. Yet the egret, standing one-legged in the marshes, yet the sizzling of the vegetables in this pan. Yet these cities of tents and boxes, what can I do but turn and face your awesome gates and witness and pour it out to you with heart through my open mouth, singing at the top of my lungs? I am so busy with my small offices and anxious needs, while you make and do while I'm not looking. Consider the wonders of your sanctuary, for instance, the heights of it, its windows and doors, its openings and closings. How I enter it, or it enters me, then vanishes. And then it is for me to sing you back to splendor. Not that I have that kind of power. No, it's you. You, in your kindness, have turned up the volume. And as I turn your many names over and over, polish them to smooth stones, let me leave all these silly trinkets here with you.
Nice. Very beautiful. Very nice. Very spiritual as well. And you say many names. Are you mean like Yahweh or even other religions' name for God?
Oh, there's six, in Judaism, we have 60 names.
60 names. That's amazing.
Or some number around there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the spiritual component, so your Judaism, I know you trained in that as well. You went to school or something, I believe.
I went to rabbinical school for 2 years.
And then, so the Psalms, so it's like, I guess David was doing that, right? He was praising God, but he also was saying, I'm being followed and chased.
Exactly.
I'm overwhelmed. Now, you didn't go into that part of it. You're more in the praising, it sounds like. Praising the higher in this poem here.
Not always. In this poem, yeah.
Yeah, this poem. But you also say, why have you left me behind and all that kind of stuff, which David did that too, I think, sometimes. Or
not quite as not quite as naively, I want to say. David was sometimes pretty, naive in a way.
He had given up.
Well, he's
almost given up. Yeah.
Well, back in that day, you might say that we heard voices in our head and thought they were God. So as far as we were concerned, we were talking to God. And then psychology came along, and eventually it was our voices are internalized now. So which gives us a sort of unfortunate amount of agency. So I can't blame God anymore for everything that I do stupidly.
In terms of the well-writtenness of the Old Testament, are there any books that really strike you a lot, that appeal to you from
in the Old Testament?
Yes. We have Job, we have Proverbs, obviously, all these things, Psalms. And
I like Genesis. That's a great book.
Oh, the beginning. Okay. Is that considered poetry or no?
Some of it, not most of it, but it's a good book.
Rose.
And I love the Psalms, some of them.
Yes.
And
how about the Song of Solomon? That's kind of controversial, they say. But about love and other things, and sex and
roots.
Okay. So spirituality, is that one of your main themes, or shall we say your influence in poetry?
I think so.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
You see, there's a kind of a very depth in your nature. It sounds like very, you go deep inside these things, and it gives you joy. But you did say it took you a long time. Were you like afraid of poetry because of the emotions and stuff?
Yeah, I was afraid of it, and it was hard. It's hard.
It's hard work, yeah.
There's no such thing as a grant deadline in poetry.
Oh,
all you.
Yes, it's all you. Now, do people even read? Some people are cynical. They said people don't even read today, even books and all that, or poetry.
Yeah, that's not true.
They do it on their tablet, or what's your?
They read books. The book sales went up during the pandemic.
Oh, okay. Actual physical books, or you mean like ebooks or the Kindle?
All of it.
Oh, okay. So you think people still love the word, the written word?
I do.
Now, how about this? If you could tweet one phrase to the world, what would that be?
I'm not going to play this game. I don't know.
You're not good at that?
Be patient.
Be patient, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because people are pretty impatient, I would say.
I'm pretty impatient.
You're impatient. Okay. What is your plan to hold for you? Is there any projects you're excited about that you want to you're working on, or that we can hear about?
Oh, as Jory Graham would say, I'm just trying to write my way into new music. So it's the first time I've had a full length book come out. And that book is all new poems after that. And now I'm sort of like, what am I doing? It's that really uncomfortable liminal place between books, and many poets that I know.
You can play with your dog and take a dog for a walk or something in the meantime.
Yeah. But you still have to keep writing. I mean, it's still sort of a compulsion.
So you said, say that again? It's what now?
It's a compulsion. Life doesn't sit right with me if I don't spend some time writing.
What's your advice to would-be writers? Now, at the book festival, there are a lot of writers or people who want to be writers. Mm-hmm. Would you say get up every morning and write for X number of hours? What's your take on
that? Everybody's different, be patient, have faith, and keep working, but in the way that works for you.
Right. Okay.
There's a great book. Carl Phillips, who blurbed my book, wrote a great book, just came out, called My Trade is Mystery.
Oh.
And it's about the writing life.
Yes.
And it's a great book, and it gives you a lot of permission to, for everybody's different. Carl's one of the most prolific poets I know, and he's also my favorite living poet.
Wow.
I couldn't do it the way he does it.
Yeah, that's true.
He's a back of the napkin kind of guy.
I see. Yeah. I think they say John Grisham wrote his first book in the bathroom when he was sitting down, on a handkerchief or something. So, but well, Donna, it's been a pleasure having you. Now, where can people hear more about your work? Do you have a website? Any kind of ways to get a hold of you?
I do. Just easy website is Donna-Spruijt-Metz.com.
How do you spell that again?
Donna-Spruijt-Metz. So it's all one word. Donna-Spruijt-Metz.
Oh, Metz. Okay, Metz. Okay.
.com.
Okay. It has all your stuff on it, work, and
everything's up there. I have to update it with upcoming events, but it's all.
Okay, excellent. Well, it's been wonderful having you on the show. I'm glad you're inspiring people with your poetry. I'm glad you now are becoming 100% into the poetry.
Full frontal poetry.
Full frontal.
That's going to be the name of my new book.
Oh, I like that. Okay. You're going 100%. I think that shows that people can have their mission, with, pure passion. It doesn't matter, what stage you are in life. Some people start later, some people younger, but the key is to get to that point, right?
Yeah.
To make sure you enjoy, and also want to help people, I imagine too, to help them maybe with the emotional side of things as well.
Yeah.
So again, it's been wonderful having you on the show, and look forward to having you on maybe a different time when you have a new book or something. It'd be interesting.
Okay, that'd be lovely.
Yeah. So this is Dr. Alex Avila. This is Love University, and it's time to put away your notebooks, your iPads, your phones. Class is now dismissed. So that was a great interview live at the Los Angeles Book Festival at USC. We had an amazing time. And this is a great opportunity to interview these wonderful authors and people that have a message that's going to help others. So, Love University students, if you want to be on the show in the future, or if you have a show idea and want to comment on today's show, you can reach us at 310-226-8090. You can write to us at loveuniversitylove@gmail.com. You can visit us at loveuniversity.love. You can also download the podcast on Podbean, Spotify, SoundCloud, and iTunes. You can like us and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Love University Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Love Letter U Podcast. And you can also go to our YouTube channel, Love University. So until next time, this is Dr. Alex Avila. It's time to put away your notebooks, your iPads, your phones. And class is now dismissed. Love yourself, others, and a higher nature. Until next time.